All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. And with us, pretty much also, as always, in fact, she probably does the show more than I do at this point, is our marketing director, one of our other coaches, all around superhuman, Yogi Somye, Jen Wayborhart. Are you with us, Jen?
Yeah, I think so.
Here and there?
Yeah,
Woohoo!
Feels
it's
feels like a
Monday.
Monday. Should
Feels
we
like a
actually?
Monday after daylight
We'll
savings.
get into the whole daylight savings time bullshit, no question. So brutal. And we've got a really cool guest for you guys today, a repeat guest and a former Mile High Mastermind speaker, and somebody who's pretty much got their hand in more pie. Well, probably not as many pies as you, Jen, but you guys could have some kind
Close.
of
We battle it out.
contest. We battle it
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
welcome back, Antoine Glover. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing awesome, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. I like your hat. We're still bald, I trust.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
still
yeah,
bald.
oh, okay. Oof.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Hey,
whatever.
we've had hair implant guests on the show before.
But I don't know if here it is. I shave it. I don't know if it'll grow back or not. I've been shaving my head for the last almost 30 years, so I don't even know if I have hair or not. Really,
That's a tough one. Why did you start shaving it?
because I just hated getting my hair cut.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm
Fair
going to
enough.
shave, I might just shave. I'm going to look like George Jefferson. I don't know. You remember how he had the unicorn?
The ring, yeah.
Yeah, the ring. I don't know. So I'm just going to be like, you know what? Just get Yul Brynner. It worked well for him. So I'm just going to take Yul Brynner's, probably dating myself here, but he had a bald head. He had a bald head, so why not?
Okay, fair enough. For those of you that aren't anywhere near as old as Antoine, which is pretty much everybody, Yul Brynner was an actor, most famous, I think, for The King and I. At least that's where I would place him. And that's funny.
Right.
I did once see The King and I on Broadway, and Lou Diamond Phillips played the king.
Really?
He's an interesting looking guy with no hair.
Huh.
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips. Interesting.
Lou Diamond Phillips, and he cannot sing worth a shit. Thank God Los Lobos stepped up and did all the music for La Bamba.
Right.
But yeah, that was certainly something. So the two of you had been chatting a little bit before we went live, and I was able to pick up a little bit of that. I'm running a little behind schedule today, but sounds like Prime IV is moving and shaking and opening locations. And I caught something about DIA. You're gonna have a spot at the airport.
Well, I'm eyeing that. So
Okay.
So kind of going back here, the crazy run that all of us had in the real estate world these last handful of years, and also talking with you.
It's been wild.
It's been wild. It was a wild and crazy ride, but it was an opportunity for a lot of us to make a lot of money. And
True.
So what I was seeing, unfortunately, for a lot of people in our business, and listen, to each his own, another trip to Cancun, another BMW, another this. And I was like, screw that.
Should we mention our coaching client that decided his $30,000 boat was inadequate and needed a $60,000 boat?
Right. And it's just like,
dude, why?
It doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
So what I did is I always say my job is to make money and then have my babies, have my money make more money. I would say having babies. They need to be out there working for me. And so I just took all my money and I just dumped it into various real estate in regards of a lot of investment rentals, and just continue to make a lot of money. And then with that, I was able to, and still able to, do a lot of things that are freeing me up, so I'm not beholden to just the transaction. So I can still have money still coming in. I'm still doing quite well in real estate, but I have other drips or multiple streams of income, if you will, that is coming in. And so obviously the real estate world allowed me to do that. But then I see so many people in our industry, from the lenders and realtors, that either jump ship or just scrambling now. I understand it, but my whole thing is, what were you doing to prepare for it? And these are a lot of the same guys and gals that survived 2008, but didn't learn their lesson.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we have a short memory. Let's not pull any punches here. We intentionally tend to forget that
Right.
regular. And yeah, you're not wrong. It's harder in Colorado to track what goes on in real estate because you guys only have to renew your licenses every 3 years.
Right.
And mortgage lending, we have to renew our licenses every year. And at the beginning of the year, it was 60% that had not renewed.
Wow.
Big number. Yeah, absolutely. I've got to assume, well, real estate's another animal altogether because we already know that 80% fail in the first 2 years, 85% in the first 5 years. So what those numbers would look like, even with still trailing of the people who just could not survive it in 22, 23, I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting. But yeah, I would say the people that are still around are the ones that had learned these lessons before or had figured out how to do what you and I did, essentially parlay those winnings into other ways to generate money.
Right.
Rather than doing things like buying another BMW.
And another trip to Cancun. All right. Woo. All right. Which is cool.
You're Spanish.
To each his own. But here's how I kind of look at it. I'd rather have my investments pay for my Cancun trip. I'm not opposed to doing anything like that. We've talked about this before. I'm approaching 50, and I'm not old by any means, but I'm not getting any younger. On average, we live 10 years, 8 times. I have 3 left. So it's like sometimes we just, generally speaking, we just kind of wait for the clouds to part versus making the clouds part yourselves and start figuring out, putting things in perspective. Like, I got to make this thing work. I got to go out there and find buyers and sellers. I got to find people that are looking to invest in real estate. I got to learn how to continually grow myself. And I think it's challenging for a lot of people, though, Adam and Jen. You guys know, I mean, heck, even in the sales in the new builds, they weren't salespeople; they were order takers, and that's how so much of it was, right?
Totally.
Even that's all it was, and all of a sudden, the market turned to where it really should have been, and now people are going, "Well, what do I do? What do I do?"
Yeah,
Well,
not
you should have been
prepared.
doing what you should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And it's funny because a lot of them don't understand that that's the job. Just find buyers and sellers. Anything that's a byproduct of that is, well, maybe some of it's crap you learned in real estate school and, through your examination, your continuing education, those kinds of things. But for the majority of things that are a byproduct of finding buyers and sellers is something you can pay somebody else to do anyway, so that you can continue to find buyers and sellers. So I don't know if this was before we went live and you guys were chatting and I'm picked it up, or maybe after we turned on the cameras, we talked about it, but you had mentioned some old school shit that you're, back in your activities with, like picking up the phone.
Yeah, go figure.
I know.
How about, I mean,
wow, that still works.
I know. It's so foreign to a lot of people because there's not an app for it. Here's your app. Hey, how have you been? It's Antoine, right? I mean, it's really something that you should be doing all the time, regardless. And I know we get busy, and I know things kind of get a little crazy, but at the end of the day, it reminds me of what was it, Vince Lombardi. Every year he would hold up a football and he would say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." And he'd be like, "I know it's a football." And the point being, obviously, is it's going back to the basics, going back to how to dribble. Instead of just trying to shoot the 3-point shot, how about learning how to get that basketball? Hey, Greg, how the heck are you, buddy? Getting that basketball, learning how to dribble, getting it down the court. The basic fundamentals done over and over and over. And when you're bored and you think it's not working, keep doing it.
Do it some more.
It just do it some more. People look at your success as an example, Adam, and they go, "Man, this guy he's a rock star." but they don't see the 95%. They only see the 5% of your success. And when they see you speaking and doing all these wonderful things, but they don't see you behind the scenes, the days that you're pulling out your hair, when you're wondering what's going on with the market, and the things that you go, it's not working for me right now, but I'm just going to keep moving. I'm just going to keep moving. Because at the end of the day, what are your options? This is how I kind of look at it. Because come hell or high water, and it's not dissing anybody who works at Walmart or the post office, but I swear to you, come hell or high water, I will not work in there. So that's kind of like my little motivator. What kind of keeps you going? It's like, well, what is your alternative? Right?
An entrepreneur will work 80 hours a week to make sure they don't have to work 40 hours a week.
Right. Absolutely. So you just got to really dig deeper and really figure out why you're even doing what you're doing. And then when we turn this corner, which we will, I think it's going to get probably a little bit more interesting here in the next year or two than anything. But that's also a great way to really sharpen your skills. It really is. You just got to continue to sharpen your skills, and just be better. And then I also think about this. You said 60% of the people in your industry did not sign up, renew their license here in Colorado.
Coast to coast.
Or is that coast to coast?
Yeah.
So think about this. Even if interest rates were at 20%, just think about it. People are still going to need money. It doesn't matter.
There's never a shortage of people that need to borrow money.
No. And so the more people that get off the boat, people are still going to need the money. People are still going to need real estate. They are going to need our expertise to get them into that house or the commercial property, whatever it is. They're going to need our expertise. And if there's not enough of us out there, guess who gets it?
That's right.
We do.
The people that are still picking up the goddamn phone.
Right.
Seriously. Yeah. And Jen's heard me tell this tale 1,000 times about a conference attendee who saw me speak and afterward asked me, what's the one thing you would tell somebody to get where you're at, to get where you're at? And I said, work hard for 20 years. It's not a secret. Like you said, there is no app for that.
No.
Work hard.
I think too many people have the microwave approach. Right. They see the YouTubers and they see all these people have all these success. Heck, even YouTubers, if you actually watch what they have done, it's taken them years to get where they're at. So even they had to continue to work their butt off when nobody was watching, nobody was liking what they were putting out there, continually changing their content, adjusting their sales so they can become successful. Now we look at, once again, going back to that 5% going, wow, it must be nice. I really wish I would be like this person. Are you really willing and able to actually go through the gunk that you're going to have to go through? Because I'm going to tell you, man, I'll be the first one to admit it. I've had plenty of times where I have beat my head against the wall. I've had tears in my eyes, literally like, am I even doing the right thing? And then I start thinking of the post office and working at Walmart. So I'm like, okay, it could be worse. It could be worse. What do I got to do? Pick up a phone again. I got to go out there, do something, another networking event, whatever it may be, so I can continually get myself in front of people to see what I can do for them.
You're full of shit. We know that real estate is exactly like HGTV says it is.
Right? I just go show a few homes and just go cash my check.
That's it.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. Yeah.
Right.
It's wild. No question. But I do think you're right that I think we're actually turning a corner. I don't think it's still coming. I think we're starting to see it. I would venture to say that a lot of it is because of a lack of population. If so many mortgage originators, real estate agents, et cetera, have gotten out of the business, then maybe a smaller pie, but bigger pieces. So that one I've always just kind of been comfortable with as these cycles have ebbed and flowed. That one has never really bothered me. And I think it's important for people to understand that it's not always going to be like it was in 20 and 21.
Right.
And it's not always going to be like it was in 22 and 23. And those are very opposite real estate and mortgage markets. There's no question. But I think the key to this is God, we live in a dynamic world. We live in an ever-changing industry. And if you are approaching it from a stagnant position, you're dead in the water. You have to be able to ebb and flow as your industry ebbs and flows. There's just no other way around it. All these people that were so good at the REOs and the short sales, now they are the ones working at Walmart.
Right.
They didn't shift. And we made some pretty dramatic shifts in 22. I think it was 22. Jen would know better than I would. We really started to buckle down on the training and the lead gen work when it came to reverse mortgages. We've got a boomer population that wants to be able to age in place. The costs of, the healthcare and the retirement communities and so on and so forth, just skyrocketing. And I still kick myself for not pivoting 90 days sooner.
Right.
So, yeah, you guys have got to have a little bit of foresight. You've got to see what's coming. You've got to pay some attention to who's out there, consumer-wise, what they're going to do. Are they going to be buying? Are they going to be selling? Who's going to be buying and selling? Right. And why? We talk about this a ton in our lead gen. Get yourself, all of you watching, listening, get yourself involved when the psychological triggers that lead to the buying, selling, refinancing of homes occurs. Now, that could still be 3, 6, 9, 12, 24 months away, but then you're the guy, then you're the girl, then you're the person who's going to be involved in that transaction because you were involved when the psychological triggers are occurring. And I think it's really important to understand, all of you, God, and this is really true for the newer LOs on my team, what you're doing now is work that's going to pay off in a month or 3 or a year or 2 or 5. And remember that this is a career, not a job. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So on those days, like Antoine said, everybody, where it just isn't working, things are going sideways, you're pulling your hair out. Antoine's a great example. He pulled it all out.
That's what happened.
There we go. That's what happened. You just keep going.
You sure you guys want to get into real estate?
It's funny because we get a lot of questions about that from new agents, new loan originators. Like, is this a good time to get in? It's really hard right now, isn't it? I'm like, no, it's always fucking hard. It's just a different kind of hard.
That's true.
Yeah, you still have to work. You just have to be dynamic about your work. You have to recognize what's hard about it right now and figure out how to make that easier on you. But yeah, I'm not pulling any punches. If there are people out there listening or watching that are contemplating a career in real estate, mortgages, insurance, financial planning, whatever, anything where you've got a direct-to-consumer large ticket gig, sales gig, it's always hard.
It's always just
you
to your
have
point.
To work.
There's three important elements I always look at when I'm struggling in my business. If you're struggling in your business, I guarantee these three, if you really are honest with yourself, you can find the leak in your tire. Number one,
ooh, I like that.
Number one is who are you hanging around with? Are you hanging around with a bunch of people that are like, well, the market sucks. Yeah, the market sucks for me too. Yeah, I can't find anybody. I don't need to hang around those people. I need to hang around people that are better than me. People out there that are still balling right now. What are they doing? Those are the type of people that I want to hang around with. Number two, what are you watching? Now, obviously,
we go. We talk about you a lot with this shit. Go on.
Yeah. And what are you watching? Now, granted, you want to be up to par what's going on in the real estate world, and so you can be that education piece.
Yeah.
But are you literally watching a lot of shit on TV that has no bearing on your life? I always say when you're watching that news, there's only 3 emotions you get: fear, anger, and sadness. Now go run your business.
Yeah, but that's what sells.
And I know that's what sells.
Okay.
But that's also going to sell to the people that you're trying to find who are buyers and sellers. If you are fearful, angry, and sad, that emotion will subconsciously, it will bleed through to other people.
Yeah.
People will really see. And number three, and this is the big one too, because a lot of people will say, yeah, I read a book last year. I think I started. What book are you currently reading? If you can really nail that down, what book are you reading that's professionally or personally helping you grow to be that person of influence, that person that can learn how to sell? Yes, we are salespeople, guys. How to become that person of influence to sell yourself, to help solve solutions, create the solutions for other people that have problems. Those are the three things, in my opinion, that I always take stock in myself and I go, okay, something's not working here. Where am I out of balance here? Who am I hanging around with? What am I watching? And what am I reading? And if I guarantee if you hang around with the right people, Earl Nightingale said this years ago with the strangest secret. Your mind doesn't care what you feed it. It just grows what you feed it. And if you think about that, how much negative shit do we have going on 24/7? That's going into your brain doesn't care, but it's just going to continue to grow. Imagine feeding it things that it's craving, something positive, great things that are going to help you think outside the box to really be that person of influence. And then the types of books that you're reading. I'm not dissing Harry Potter, but is that really going to help your real estate business? Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, Antoine, you want a box?
Yeah, we're done. All right, so you just blew your shot of getting back on the podcast
Right?
again. Fuck.
But is it really going to help your business?
Right.
Now, it's not saying Harry Potter's bad, but is it really enlightening? Is it something where you're saying, it could be a book that you've read 4 or 5 times. Read it again. Why could it be different? Well, because if you start to move along that process, it's like when people say, I've read the Bible before. And I go, read it again. And they go, wow, I've read this passage a million times. It's different today. Why? Because you're different. And if you start looking at these things and going, okay, what can I do over and over and over and over so I can become that person of influence? So when people sit around you and they just go, there's something about you. I don't even know what the hell you do, but I just love your attitude. I love your energy. And then I tell them what I do. I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. What are you looking to do? Oh, that's interesting. You're saying that. My wife and I, you start the conversation.
So it's funny, and I can't believe how long this has been, but you guys were all at the 2020 Mile High Mastermind, which we did in the peak of the pandemic. We were in that giant ballroom, and everybody had to have their own 6-foot table. It was pretty wild, but we still talk about it quite a bit, right? It was a pretty weird event. Nobody in that hotel except for us. 3 people on staff. We got the accounting manager acting as bartender, and the GM is serving us breakfast. It was a weird experience, but we talked about the media, and we talked about the fact that it's part of the entertainment industry. The news media in particular, it's part of the entertainment industry. They're going to put shit out there that's going to sell. We all want to sell our wares. We're all capitalists, kind of, and that is what sells. And turn it off. And you know what, Antoine? I did. I haven't watched a news broadcast outside of CNBC or maybe Bloomberg since September of 20. Yeah, September of 20. Because of that, one of the things that I really got a kick out of that you and I had discussed either during or after that was that old interview with the marketing guy from Lamborghini who was asked why they don't have TV ads. He said, because our customers don't watch TV.
There's a clue.
I don't have a lot of interest in buying a Lamborghini, but there is a lot to be said for, turning off that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
No question. It's like we try to. It's like grandma's favorite cake, and for years we try to make for grandma's favorite cake, and it always turns out like shit. And we go, I don't get this. I'm trying, and I go, well, why don't you just call grandma and get the recipe? Oh, I never thought about that. Meaning, why do we always try to reinvent the wheel?
Recreate, yeah.
So the people that you're hanging around with, find somebody who is 10, 100 times better than you and go, what are you doing? I guarantee you ask enough people who are successful in any endeavor that you're in, you're going to start seeing a common theme, a common thread. They're going to have something that's like, yep, they read, they don't watch the news, they hang around people that are better than them. They're always constantly looking at becoming bigger and better. And I think it gets harder too, Adam. It's kind of a weird paradox. It's harder the more successful you get, because you start making the six figures, multiple six-figure incomes. Some even do seven-figure income, right? And you can really simply and easily get complacent. You go, do I really need it? No, I really don't. And then that's where you start to really slip. So it's an interesting paradox. Yes, the ones that are starting out now, that would do anything. I'll do open houses 7 days a week. Please, I'll do anything. And then you reach that level, whatever that level is. And then you go, I think I'm pretty good. And then that's where you start to slip and slide back. And then we get in a situation where we're at now. Now you're going, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Going back to the fundamentals.
Well, and people don't realize that stopping growth actually means retracting growth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop. There is no way to get to a point that you want to be with all of this attitude, with all of this success, whatever the case may be, and just stay stagnant. It doesn't work that way. You can't hit a plateau and stay there. You will degrade.
Yeah.
Unless you keep feeding it.
Even if you had $1 billion in the bank. Look at all of them.
It's not going to work.
It doesn't matter. You see the Richard Bransons and all of them that are out there. They have more than enough money. They don't need the money, but why do they constantly continue to push themselves, grow, keep doing things? I don't care if you like him or not. Look at Elon Musk. He has more than enough money, right? But he decided to buy Twitter. He decided to do SpaceX. He's doing different things. And these are type of people. These are the grandmas that you should. And it's so interesting too, because it's the easiest time in history to get information literally in a second at literally anything that you want. I can go to YouTube and figure out how to do an engine. I can barely put gas in my car, but I can.
That's because it's a Tesla, you fool.
Because it's a Tesla, right? That's funny. But you literally, it's so interesting on how easy it is now to really become whatever you want to be and as successful as you want to be, versus back in the day. I mean, well before I was even in real estate, when I talked to the old crew, and they had the old MLS books, and they had to go through the MLS books and find this, and they go, man, if I started out today compared to when we started out in the 80s or the early 90s or even the early 2000s, they would have like 10 steps ahead of so many people, because it's really, everything is really right now at our fingertips, but we still find a way to kind of sabotage ourselves, if you will. It's not easy enough. I need another app, and I just really wish it was like this.
Nature. We're self-sabotaging. We are. But I would like to put out there that I am a YouTube certified auto mechanic. Because that definitely is the trend. We're getting to a point where we've almost made school worthless, because the entire wealth of knowledge is out on the interwebs.
Shoot, I would be an A student with AI now.
Well, maybe we've come a long way on the academic side there as well.
We're gonna have to do a book report. All right.
Yeah. Please, kids, don't plagiarize your book reports. Don't let AI write your papers.
Don't listen to Antoine. No.
Do not listen to Antoine, which is basically the entire knowledge base, the entire plethora of advice that we have gathered from this episode, a repeat episode with Antoine as a guest. Don't be like Antoine.
Whatever I say, just do the opposite, and you'll be very successful.
Program. Absolutely.
Yes, scared straight.
All right. So I blame Jen for even putting you back in here. Absolutely. But on that note, I'm still going to rely on you, Jen, to tell us what is new, what is the latest and greatest these days with Just the Tip, since I am catching your cues about us pushing our time.
As always. And I'm just going to say I'm going to keep reading Harry Potter. So just going to say that. So
I love it.
I think you should record reading it out loud and just send the media files to Antoine. You could be like his own personal Harry Potter Audible.
I mean, I plan on reading it to Lainey, so I'll just record it and send it to Antoine at the same time. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh man, all my
and I
Harry
mean,
Potter fans are gonna be like, Antoine, no.
Couple of my favorite kindergartners. That's awesome.
it's fine.
But
It's fine.
but speaking of Harry Potter, the author should give you some inspiration. Imagine getting turned down 12 different publishers.
Yeah.
They said that
Yeah.
it was horrible, it wasn't going to happen. I can imagine maybe one or two, but after like 6 or 7, I'm thinking maybe my shit stinks. Maybe this isn't right. She kept going. She was on welfare. I think lived in her car for a little bit, and now is one of the richest women in the world.
Yeah, she started writing it on the back of a napkin at a coffee shop.
Now,
her story is incredible. She's kind of turned shitty, but her original story is pretty badass. So
right.
Yeah. But yes, so keep reading Harry Potter. Don't listen to Antoine. Is what we're saying.
What else are we telling our audience these days, Jen?
Biggest thing coming is Social Media Day Denver, Friday, June 14th at Metro State. Big thank you to Metro State for always partnering with us on Social Media Day Denver. This is our 4th Social Media Day Denver, I believe, that Adam and I are putting on. I believe it's the 4th, which is insane. So I'm still looking for speakers and sponsors. There's a lot of unique opportunity at this event to speak because everything can come back to social media and content creation. So if you have something cool that you like to speak about, that you'd love to get on a stage, reach out to me, smdaydenver@gmail.com. Other than that, we have launched our Day with Adam and Jen training. So if you want to dive into what we do at Just the Tips, you can have us come out for a whole day of training with your team. You can get information about all of these things, plus past episodes of our show, Adam's books, book a free hour of coaching with us, all of it by texting tips to 63566.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That Day with Adam and Jen has really been popular, but I've been giving that a lot of thought. And actually, it's funny because we were talking about the air travel in the airports, because we were talking about Prime IV at DIA. And there was
not yet.
Not yet. We'll let all of you know.
I just want my CEO friend Amy to be like, what? We see he's never. Amy was just a thought. It was just a thought.
Well, I caught an interesting story yesterday about a guy who went to the airport with his wife. I don't know what the trip was for, but they're running a little behind. She decides she's going to go to Starbucks before the flight, and he says, "We don't have time." 4 times he calls her cell phone. Hey, they're boarding. They're going to close the gate. You got to get down here. And he and the rest of the passengers and flight crew, left without her. So somebody asked me, would you get on the plane and leave her? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I warned you 6 times that you weren't going to make it. You catch the next flight, I'll meet you there. So
I mean, I would leave somebody who didn't have TSA pre-check. So not to mention going to get Starbucks.
Oh, no, that's mean, because I could have done that to you before you had it. So
no, I got it before our first flight because you told me you would leave me because of all right.
Fair enough. So Jen and I are going to become road warriors again here. We're starting to book a lot of trips and flights with this stuff, but it'll be cool. All right. So that is more than enough of our audience's time for this week for sure. But yeah, as Jen said, you can use our text code, text tips to 63566 to catch all the things that go on at Just the Tips. And you can catch episodes of How I Met Your Mortgage on Videocast Live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Mondays at 10:30 Mountain Time. That's 12:30 on the East, 9:30 in the West. And I have no idea what that means with the time change. And you poor people in Arizona, we're never going to get that right. So we'll just have to take our chances as far as what time frame you guys are in.
And a shameless plug, if you guys are looking to feel you're optimal and want to run phenomenally well, come by and see me at Prime IV here in Monument.
Oh, that's hilarious. I thought they were in Monument. What a small world. You guys are like right there with each other.
Like,
literally 5 minutes away.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, very cool. And then you can catch the podcast on Wednesdays on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon Podcasts. And that's it from us today. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. Antoine, thanks for doing the show again.
All right.
And we'll see you guys then.
Yes, you will.